Looking to make Australia your new home in 2025? Hold on tight because the immigration landscape is shifting dramatically, and what worked last year might not work anymore. If you're a skilled professional dreaming of Australian permanent residency, the next few minutes could be the difference between success and disappointment. Stay with me because we're diving deep into the game-changing updates that every aspiring migrant needs to know right now. Welcome back to Aussie Global Affairs, your trusted source for cutting-edge immigration insights and Australian migration updates. I'm here to break down the complex world of Australian immigration into clear, actionable information that actually matters to your journey. Whether you're a healthcare professional, an IT specialist, an engineer, or any skilled worker looking at Australia, this video is specifically designed for you. Today, we're unpacking the essential changes that have rolled out for 2025, and trust me, some of these updates are going to surprise you. Before we jump in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because immigration policies change rapidly, and Aussie Global Affairs keeps you ahead of the curve with timely, accurate updates you can rely on. Let's start with the elephant in the room. The skilled occupation lists have undergone their most significant revision in years. The Australian government has responded to critical labor shortages across multiple sectors, but they've also tightened requirements in areas that previously saw high application volumes. The Medium and Long-Term Strategic Skills List, commonly known as MLTSSL, now includes several healthcare occupations that weren't there before. We're seeing registered nurses in specialized fields like aged care, mental health, and perioperative nursing receiving priority processing. This isn't just a minor adjustment. It's a clear signal that Australia is facing an aging population crisis and needs skilled healthcare workers urgently. For IT professionals, there's mixed news. While software engineers and developers remain on the priority lists, the bar has been raised significantly. The skills assessment process now requires more comprehensive evidence of recent work experience, and generic job descriptions won't cut it anymore. You need to demonstrate specific technical competencies aligned with Australian industry standards. Cybersecurity specialists, data scientists, and cloud architects are seeing favorable conditions, but front-end developers and general programmers are facing increased scrutiny. The message is clear. Australia wants highly specialized tech talent, not entry-level developers. Engineering occupations continue to feature prominently, but there's a noticeable shift toward renewable energy and sustainable infrastructure specialists. Civil engineers focusing on green building projects, electrical engineers with solar and wind energy experience, and environmental engineers are finding pathways that didn't exist as prominently before. The government's commitment to achieving net zero emissions by 2050 is directly influencing immigration priorities, and if your skills align with this agenda, you're in a stronger position than ever. The points-based system has received crucial adjustments that affect every skilled visa applicant. The minimum points threshold remains at 65 for most skilled independent visas, but the reality is that competitive scores are now sitting much higher. Data from recent invitation rounds shows that applicants with 75 to 80 points are receiving invitations, while those hovering around the minimum are waiting months or missing out entirely. This isn't official policy change, but it's the practical reality you need to understand. Age continues to play a critical role, and here's where strategic planning becomes essential. Applicants between 25 and 32 years old still receive maximum age points. But if you're approaching 33 or beyond, every month counts. The points drop significantly after 33, and by the time you hit 40, you're facing a steep uphill battle. My advice? If you're in that critical age bracket, accelerate your application process. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't delay for an extra year of work experience if it means aging out of your optimal points range. English language requirements have intensified across the board. While competent English remains the minimum for most skilled visas, superior or proficient English is increasingly becoming the differentiator between successful and unsuccessful applications. We're talking about achieving at least a 7 in each component of IELTS or equivalent scores in PTE or TOEFL. But here's the insider information many migration agents won't emphasize. Achieving an 8 across all components gives you 20 points instead of 10. And in today's competitive environment, those extra points could be your golden ticket. Partner skills assessment has become a more valuable strategy than many applicants realize. If your spouse or de facto partner also has skills in an occupation on the relevant skilled occupation list and can demonstrate competent English, you gain additional points. This isn't just about maximizing your points score, it's about demonstrating to Australian authorities that both members of your partnership can contribute meaningfully to the economy. The government wants migrants who will integrate successfully, and 2 skilled professionals represent a better proposition than 1. State and territory nomination programs have evolved into sophisticated, targeted invitation systems. Each state now has specific priorities based on their unique economic needs, and understanding these nuances is critical. New South Wales is focusing heavily on healthcare and technology, particularly in regional centres outside Sydney. Victoria continues to seek manufacturing and advanced technology professionals, especially those willing to commit to areas beyond Melbourne. Queensland is prioritizing tourism and hospitality management, mining engineering, and agricultural specialists as they rebuild their economy post-pandemic. South Australia has emerged as an increasingly attractive option for many skilled migrants. Their state nomination criteria are often more accessible than eastern states, and they're actively seeking tradespeople, healthcare workers, and engineering professionals. Western Australia remains focused on mining, oil and gas, and related engineering disciplines, but they've also opened up significantly to healthcare and education professionals. Tasmania, the Northern Territory, and the Australian Capital Territory each have their own distinct priorities, and sometimes a less obvious state choice can be your fastest pathway to permanent residency. Regional visas have received unprecedented attention and benefits. The government has made it abundantly clear that they want to address population imbalances by encouraging migration to regional areas. The Regional Sponsored Migration Scheme and Skilled Work. Regional visas now offer distinct advantages, including additional points, priority processing, and potentially easier qualification thresholds. Here's what many people misunderstand. Regional doesn't mean remote outback with no amenities. Cities like Wollongong, Geelong, Newcastle, the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, and Hobart are classified as regional for migration purposes, and these are vibrant, livable cities with excellent infrastructure and opportunities. The regional pathway now includes a clearer route to permanent residency after spending 3 years living and working in designated regional areas. You can study there, work there, and transition to permanent residency while enjoying potentially lower living costs and less competition for jobs compared to Sydney or Melbourne. For families, regional areas often offer better work-life balance, stronger community connections, and more affordable housing. The trade-off of living outside major cities for a few years could be the smartest investment in your Australian future. Employer sponsorship has undergone significant procedural changes. The Temporary Skill Shortage Visa, commonly called the TSS or Subclass 482, now has stricter labor market testing requirements. Employers must demonstrate more comprehensively that they've genuinely tried to find Australian workers before sponsoring someone from overseas. This means the job advertisement requirements have become more detailed. The recruitment period has specific timeframes, and the evidence of unsuccessful local recruitment needs to be thorough. However, here's the positive side. Once you secure genuine employer sponsorship, your pathway is more secure than ever. The transition from temporary to permanent residency through employer sponsorship has been streamlined for certain occupations, particularly those on the MLTSSL. After working for your sponsor for 3 years on a TSS visa, you become eligible for the Employer Nomination Scheme Permanent Visa, and processing times for this transition have improved significantly. The Global Talent Independent Program continues to offer an express lane for exceptionally skilled individuals in target sectors. If you're at the top of your field in areas like agritech, space technology, financial services technology, quantum computing, advanced manufacturing, or medical technology, this program bypasses many traditional requirements. You don't need employer sponsorship, you don't need to go through state nomination, and you can potentially achieve permanent residency much faster than conventional skilled migration pathways. The catch? You need to demonstrate truly exceptional ability and international recognition in your field. We're talking about published research, patents, significant industry contributions, or leadership roles in cutting-edge projects. Skills assessment requirements have become more stringent and specific. Different assessing authorities have different standards, and understanding exactly what your particular authority requires is non-negotiable. For trades occupations, you now need to demonstrate not just qualifications, but substantial recent work experience with detailed employment references. Engineers must provide comprehensive career episodes and continuing professional development evidence. IT professionals face detailed project descriptions and technical competency demonstrations. Healthcare workers need extensive documentation of clinical practice and ongoing professional registration. The timeline for skills assessment has also changed. What used to take 6 to 8 weeks can now extend to 3 or 4 months depending on the assessing authority and occupation. This means you need to factor assessment time into your overall migration planning. Starting your skills assessment while you're still preparing other documentation or improving your English scores is a strategic approach that can save you months in your overall timeline. Financial requirements and evidence of funds have received increased attention. While there's no official minimum bank balance specified for most skilled independent visas, immigration officers are examining whether applicants have sufficient funds to support themselves and their families during the initial settlement period. A general guideline is having access to at least 20,000 Australian dollars for a single applicant, with additional amounts for dependents. This isn't a fixed rule, but demonstrating financial capacity strengthens your application and shows serious commitment. Health and character requirements remain fundamental, but processing times for police clearances and medical examinations have fluctuated. Some countries are experiencing delays in police certificate issuance, so starting this process early is crucial. Medical examinations must be completed by panel physicians approved by the Australian government. And certain health conditions can lead to visa refusal, particularly if they might result in significant cost to the Australian healthcare system. Being upfront about any health issues and providing comprehensive medical documentation is always the best approach. The points test calculation now includes a professional year component that's worth considering if you're on the borderline. Completing a professional year program in Australia in accounting, engineering, or IT can give you 5 additional points and provides valuable Australian work experience, industry connections, and cultural integration. For those already in Australia on a student visa or other temporary visa, this could be your bridge to permanent residency. Visa processing times have become a significant factor in planning your migration journey. Currently, skilled independent visas are taking anywhere from 8 to 15 months for processing, though priority occupations and higher point scores can see faster outcomes. State-nominated visas vary dramatically depending on which state and which occupation stream you're applying through. Employer-sponsored visas are generally processing within 6 to 10 months. These timeframes can shift based on global application volumes, internal departmental priorities, and resource allocation, so building buffer time into your plans is essential. Document preparation has evolved into a more detailed and evidence-heavy process. Generic documents won't suffice. Your employment references need to be on company letterhead, signed by authorized personnel, and include specific details about your duties, duration of employment, whether the position was full-time or part-time, and your salary. Educational documents need official transcripts and degree certificates, and in many cases, these need to be verified directly from the institution or through official verification services. Any document not in English must be translated by accredited translators recognized by Australian authorities. The importance of a well-structured migration strategy cannot be overstated. Many applicants make the mistake of rushing into applications without fully understanding all available pathways or optimizing their profile. Sometimes spending an additional 6 months improving English scores, gaining specific work experience, or repositioning your career focus can transform your application from marginal to competitive. Working with registered migration agents can provide valuable expertise, though it's essential to choose agents registered with the Migration Agents Registration Authority to ensure you're receiving legitimate professional advice. Family migration options interconnect with skilled migration in ways that might surprise you. If you have siblings, parents, or adult children who are Australian citizens or permanent residents, certain family-sponsored visa options might be available depending on your circumstances and their willingness to sponsor you. These pathways typically have different requirements and timelines than skilled migration, but they're worth exploring if family connections exist. The student visa pathway to permanent residency remains viable but has become more strategic. Choosing the right course in the right location, aligned with occupations on the skilled occupation lists, can position international students for successful transition to skilled migration. The key is selecting courses that lead to occupations with strong demand, good point scoring potential, and clear skills assessment pathways. Regional study provides additional benefits, including post-study work visa extensions and additional points in subsequent permanent residency applications. Business and investment migration continues as an alternative for entrepreneurs and high-net-worth individuals. The Business Innovation and Investment Program has undergone reforms focusing on genuine innovation and substantial investment in the Australian economy. If you have significant business experience or capital to invest, these pathways might offer routes that skilled migration cannot, though they come with their own complex requirements and thresholds. Understanding visa conditions and obligations is critical once you receive any temporary visa. Working in your nominated occupation, maintaining health insurance, complying with visa conditions, and keeping your information updated with the Department of Home Affairs are all mandatory. Breaching visa conditions can result in cancellation and significant barriers to future Australian visa applications. The integrity of the system depends on compliance, and authorities take violations seriously. Looking ahead at emerging trends, several patterns are becoming clear. Australia is moving toward more digitalized, streamlined application processes with increasing use of artificial intelligence in initial application screening. Occupation demands will continue evolving based on economic shifts, technological advancement, and demographic changes. The aging population will keep healthcare occupations in high demand for the foreseeable future. The push toward renewable energy and climate adaptation will create ongoing opportunities for specialists in these fields. Technology occupations will remain important, but with increasing emphasis on cutting-edge specializations rather than generalist roles. Regional development will remain a government priority, meaning incentives and benefits for choosing regional pathways are likely to strengthen rather than diminish. The challenge for migration planners is balancing immediate opportunities against longer-term trends and making strategic choices that account for both current requirements and likely future directions. For those watching from overseas who feel overwhelmed by the complexity, let me give you practical next steps. First, honestly assess where you stand right now. Calculate your points score based on current criteria. Identify your skills assessment requirements and start that process. Take a recognized English test if you haven't already, or retake it if you can improve your scores. Research which states align best with your occupation and circumstances. Understand the realistic timelines involved and whether your age and situation require urgency or allow for strategic optimization. Second, build a comprehensive document portfolio. Gather employment references, educational certificates, and evidence of work experience. Get police clearances from any country where you've lived for more than 12 months in the past 10 years. Prepare financial documentation showing your capacity to support yourself. Organize everything methodically because last-minute document gathering creates stress and potential errors. Third, Engage with the Australian migration system intelligently. Use official government resources, particularly the Department of Home Affairs website. Consider consultation with registered migration agents for personalized advice, but be wary of unauthorized representatives or those promising guaranteed outcomes. Connect with professional networks in your field within Australia to understand the employment landscape and potential opportunities. Fourth, be prepared for a marathon, not a sprint. Successful migration to Australia typically takes 12 to 24 months from initial planning to visa grant, sometimes longer depending on your pathway and circumstances. Patience, persistence, and adaptability are essential qualities. Immigration policies can change, processing times can fluctuate, and you may need to adjust your strategy along the way. The Australian dream remains very much alive and accessible, but it requires informed decision-making, careful preparation, and realistic expectations. Australia continues to welcome skilled migrants who can contribute to its economy and society. The country offers exceptional quality of life, strong employment opportunities, world-class healthcare and education systems, political stability, and a multicultural society that embraces diversity. For those willing to navigate the requirements and commit to the process, the rewards can be life-changing. Thank you for watching Aussie Global Affairs. If you found this information valuable, please hit that like button, share this video with others on their Australian migration journey, and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest immigration changes and opportunities. Drop your questions in the comments below because I read every single one, and your questions often inspire future content that helps the entire community. Remember, successful migration is about having the right information at the right time and taking strategic action. You've taken an important step today by educating yourself, and I'm here to support you throughout your journey. Until next time, keep working toward your Australian dream, stay informed with Aussie Global Affairs, and I'll see you in the next video.